What is up, everybody? All right. How's everybody doing this evening? I'm doing swell. We're going to talk a little bit about the greatest boxer of all time, who it is, and what determines that. Let me bring in my man Hayden. There he is.
How you doing?
Good evening.
Evening,
How are
sir.
we?
How you
How are
doing?
we doing? What say what?
How you doing?
Oh, I'm good. I'm good. How's life over there in Texas?
Good. Life is good. It's a little bit warm today and humid. I think we've got some cooler weather coming in, but compared to what you guys have been getting up there, whew, it's
Yeah,
a
no
heat.
joke. What's up, Stop Motion MMA? I appreciate you. Thank you for joining. Is that Roy Jones in your profile? It looks like it is. I like you already. What's up, Cooking with Sir Senior? How you doing? Good to see you. What's up, Jonathan? How you doing? Well, it's in Texas. Jonathan's in Texas, it appears.
Where's Jonathan from in Texas?
I don't know. Jonathan, where are you from in Texas? Um, so I was having this conversation. I put out a video today about the greatest of all time and
Okay.
what determines it. I'm sure you saw the video, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's
So
so
what's that?
no easy answer there. It's so there's so many
Well,
differences.
that's the problem. Like, it comes down to criteria. Nobody ever talks about this because people will argue back and forth.
Sure.
He's in San Marcos, Texas.
Oh, okay. Yeah, he's not far.
I have no idea. So many people argue back and forth about who's the greatest, and then yet they're arguing. They don't understand each other. Yet if if the criteria isn't set or isn't agreed upon, then it's a forever circular argument. You
Always.
got to set the criteria, right? So, what is your criteria for in your opinion, what makes you choose the greatest pound for pound boxer of all time?
So, being a purist, for me, I can't choose. I can't choose one. I have a list, and that list is difficult enough as it is. Even my top 20 is difficult enough, right? Because we're talking about thousands of fighters through history, and some that unless you're a purist, people are only going to go for the obvious ones. They're only going to go for the obvious guys, or the guys who had the best marketing, or the guys who had the best record. And a lot of times guys have the best records, but they didn't fight the best people, or they fought in an era where they didn't have as stiff a competition, or there's so many subjective.
So, but what is your criteria? I say, Hayden, what do you look for in the greatest? Let's do this. Let me do this. Who
Okay,
is your greatest fighter of all time?
I just can't pick one.
Okay, give me three.
Fighters that I love things from. I can
Three. Top three.
uh, Pernell Whitaker, Roy Jones, Muhammad Ali. I guess I can rattle those off, but
Okay.
you
Pernell
know,
Whitaker, Roy Jones, Muhammad Ali. So,
I,
what makes you choose Pernell Whitaker?
okay. I think Pernell Whitaker uh, he epitomizes the hit and not get hit concept of boxing. He just like Willie Pep, defensive mastery, look for their openings, pick shots, and can make you look stupid in the
Okay.
return.
So you're
So
looking. Okay. So let's try and make it real concise so we can get through because I want to get through all fighters. So you're saying defense. Okay. What? Try and just sum
absolutely,
up attributes of each of Purnell.
ah, Pernell, his one constant with all is going to be ring IQ, right? For their style, especially how they are able to impose their will on their opponent with their IQ, and
Okay.
that's Pernell was a master of that. Ali was a master of that. Roy Jones was a master of that. Now,
Okay.
separate category because he fought in the golden era of boxing, as far as I'm concerned, and he fought some really great guys. He fought some wonderful talent. He
Right.
far superior. He surpassed, transcended the skill level that we see in the ring in terms of
Okay.
his attributes, and doing it in an unorthodox way. He didn't stick to boxing fundamentals. He had
Real quick, sorry to cut you off real quick. I want to read this. Mine is accolades, Hall of Fame opponents, skill, weight class dominance. So that's interesting. I agree with skill. I agree with weight class dominance, although some people move up and down in weight classes. Accolades. So by accolades, stop. You're talking about what? Belts or what? What's an accolade? Well, what do you think an accolade would be, Hayden? What do you think he means by that?
I think oftentimes accolades are how people herald them. I mean, there are plenty of Hall of Fame fighters that most of these guys watching haven't even heard of, right?
Hmm.
Um, get the accolades, the social accolades of the day. They didn't get the, the 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 people's award, the people's stamp of approval, right?
Right. Okay. So he's saying championships. Okay. So well, let me ask you then. So I think here's my criteria. See, I don't have one criteria. I think that it needs to be argued or debated in different criteria. So I look at the fighter in their prime. That's what I look at. What they did
You have
in
to.
their prime. And within that, I look at skill level. I look at um, really when you think about it, skill level kind of sums the whole thing up. What else beyond skill level?
Oh, no, no, no. Skill and will, right? Some guys have the skill, but they don't have the will to
Okay.
impose, and utilize the skill to impose their will.
Okay, that's a good point. Okay, so skill, I agree with you. So I look at skill. So you look at Marvin Hagler. He wasn't, by the way,
So
not to disrespect the man who passed, but he wasn't the hardest or the fastest, right? He was up there, but he wasn't top 10 hardest punchers. He was the only thing that I think he stood out completely was his chin and his will.
relentless, relentless. So all of these fighters that any one of them that you pick has a superpower, or two, right? That makes
Okay.
them, because all divisions have very skilled guys. When you get to the top five guys, so what makes someone stand out is a superpower. And sometimes the superpower, and we've seen it before, is that the guy is great. He's not super skilled in any one thing. He's great at all.
Okay.
So it's
Well,
that.
okay, that's a good point. So let me say this. So Roy Jones is my greatest of all time, right? Bar none. Those of you watching me, if you don't know that, you probably do because I don't shut up about it. But and I think he's the greatest of all time because he won, dominated for 15 years. Uh, his whole prime was 15 years. Now, a lot of people don't give him the credit because he started getting knocked out later in his career. I don't look at that. I look at what he did from age, 21 to 34 or whatever he was. Or no, not 21, 19, 18, 18, I think he turned pro to like 34, 33.
Or
So I look at his skill level, which is the first thing you see. And nobody, I mean, Roy Jones was so uh, far above anybody in history with just watching your eyeballs, watching him throw punches. I mean, do you agree?
oh, without a doubt, from the
Like
moment.
like Sugar Ray Leonard came kind of close, right?
No, so on the eye test, I think Leonard had the same kind of speed. I absolutely think Leonard and yeah, and those are two of the fastest guys of all time. The
You think
difference,
Leonard is? You think Leonard was as fast as Roy?
easily, easily.
Mm.
I don't think pound for pound, especially Leonard could deliver power at that speed.
Well, okay, pound for pound, when you take into consideration Roy outweighed him by 20, 30 pounds, Roy was faster. But you're right. If you actually measured both their punches with like one of those baseball, measuring things, they probably would come in equal.
They
But I
might
don't
come in
think, yeah,
power. Even well, remember this too. There was a point where Roy was 160 pounds. He was 154 pounds.
54, yeah, when he turned pro.
Okay, so when you look at that, there was overlap. There was
Right.
overlap in youth, and I think pound for pound, Roy still has more power than Leonard by far.
Oh
Being
yeah, Roy has. But no, you know what? I wouldn't say by far. Leonard could punch.
he could punch, but not like that. Not like that.
Well, you could
This
argue that Roy hurt his
this
opponents more because his punches came from much more unorthodox, unseen angles, so he would hurt people more. You could argue that.
right. Not only that, you have to look at the guys that he stopped that had never been stopped before. Virgil Hill had never even been down in a fight. Roy reached around him and broke two of his ribs. One punch sounded like a gunshot. You know,
Man,
and not
man.
pound for pound, he could take that power up. This is the only one of these guys that could go all the way up to heavyweight and be
He didn't.
competitive,
He didn't.
legitimate heavyweight champion. This wasn't some manufactured champion. This was a tough opponent. And
He
Roy,
couldn't hurt Ruiz though, so his power didn't go all the way up to. I feel like it wasn't. He hit Ruiz a couple times flush and made Ruiz think, but it didn't.
he hurt him. He stung him. I don't think he
Stunned him a little bit, but it.
I don't think he would have knocked him out, but he made Ruiz respect him. Ruiz
And
so much.
the one punch I remember doing anything to Ruiz was a straight right that Ruiz also ran right into.
Yep.
So
Yeah. He delivered it. Roy could lay traps and run you into him. You know.
So now a lot of people, and I always get I shouldn't curse. I'm not going to curse. I always get poo-poo for this. I don't put Muhammad Ali in my top 10, top 5, maybe 10, and I don't because I don't consider cultural effect. I don't consider the effect he had on a movement, and which was amazing. I don't consider that when I'm talking about just pure boxing.
Was excluding all the stuff he did outside of the ring.
Right. If you take all this, now if you're including entire career and if you're including impact, that's the word, impact, then Muhammad Ali is number one. Nobody's impacted the world like Muhammad Ali, no boxer at least. But I don't include that. I don't.
Biggest planet of all time.
Do you put that in your criteria for the greatest? Because I don't.
I don't. But
because we're talking about boxing, we're not talking about outside the ring.
Civil rights and things like that. No. But that, I think, standalone, if we did a standalone career, he wasn't expected to beat Sonny Liston. And he did. And what he was doing to Liston was, I mean, he was doing it easily. He was doing it easily.
Yeah, he whooped his ass.
Right.
I mean,
when how George Foreman manhandled Ali was, again, remember ring IQ. He knew how he was going to have to beat Foreman, and the kind of athlete he turned himself into. Remember, there was no cruiserweight division. Ali went from being a light heavyweight Olympic medalist to heavy with these. There was nowhere for him to transition.
He was
between.
What was he? He was about 215 on average, right?
Right at that height. At that height.
6'3". I mean, he's a heavyweight. He was a heavyweight. He just didn't grow into it fully. But that Ali, because I didn't think that Muhammad Ali that fought the majority of his career, which was after being suspended. I don't think that Muhammad Ali's skill was all-time great level. I think his chin and his mind games and his will was all-time great, but as a package, I didn't see it. I saw a lot of fighters that I thought were faster over history. I thought that hit harder, that were just better technicians. Now, but the Ali before, the one who beat Cleveland Williams, the Zach guy.
Right here in 1971 in the Astrodome in Houston, Texas, he beat the daylights out of a monster in Cleveland Williams. You got to give that guy, you got to look at that skill level that it took to do that. And he did it easily, talking to him.
Weighs 199, Liston. But does that Ali who beat Cleveland, does that Ali, is his skill level, could it be considered as one of the greatest heavyweight? You think so?
Williams was a monster. Well, okay, go back to Ali's resume and look at the names on his resume.
So, but wait 1 second. I'm not looking much at the resume fully. I'm curious, you seeing how does that skill that you saw
Cleveland Williams, not just that he beat him, how he beat him,
beat the shit out of him, or beat the poop out of him.
It just an angry, focused Ali was. He was devastated.
Ali was bigger than Foreman when they fought. No. Foreman. You know what? Foreman was only 225. This guy AMCK might have a point. Somebody Google that watching. What did Ali weigh and what did Foreman weigh when they fought? I think they were about the same weight.
They may have been the same weight, but take a look. I think he might have been smaller still. But even still, uh, Foreman Foreman was way more dense than Ali, and he
Oh,
wore heavyweight with
you have
wrecking.
to account Cleveland's terrible injuries because Cleveland. Who did Cleveland fight, Hayden? You might remember this. He fought somebody else. One of, and he had great showing. Who was it? It might have been God. Might have been like Ezra Charles or one of those guys. He fought somebody and looked really good. And in the Ali fight, everybody was surprised that Ali beat him so easily.
But Ali knew he was going to beat him that easily. Ali said it. He went in there fully confident. There wasn't anything that Cleveland Williams was going to be able to do that Ali wasn't ready for. You could see it.
Liston. Oh, Cleveland Williams beat Liston, or did he just give him a tough time? He might have beat him. The Mexican Floyd is the best. There's a great argument for Floyd being the best. Do we look at records? Because do we look at never losing? Should that trump everything? Why not?
If Sanchez McKee retires tomorrow, he's undefeated.
Right, but I'm talking about world champion level guys.
Right. So, we have to look at a lot of the fodder. We have to look at a lot of the guys that, were missed he missed them in the wash and caught in the rinse. No, I don't. Is Floyd an all-time great? Sure. Is
Oh,
he
absolutely.
all-time? I don't think so.
Well, Pretty Boy Floyd, but Pretty Boy, I'm curious if Pretty Boy could have done the same thing Money did. He just chose being younger, more energy, and didn't. I don't know.
Pretty Boy Floyd with Paul Spadafora, and Paul Spadafora was.
All right, Teach. Hold on, I got to address this. Teach, please tell me can you read this, Hayden?
Who's the best pound-for-pound boxer of all time? So biased. It's Shakur to me.
Yeah, Teach, I really hope you're joking.
Gotta be kidding. He's got to.
Please. I've seen you in these rooms. You're definitely boxing. Please.
But you know what?
Please, Jesus, tell me you're kidding.
You know what? Shakur may have the makings of a future Hall of Famer. He may have the.
Of course, but saying that now, I mean.
We've got to wait. It's still so young in his career. It's still so early.
Right, you can't. Like, I don't include any active fighters in pound for pound great talks because we don't know what the cards hold. Right, of all time, right, because we don't know what the cards hold. So, I mean,
yeah, Floyd's a Money May versus Pretty Boy. I don't know. There's an argument to be made that Money Mayweather, again, like I said the other night, became more defensively responsible for longevity in the sport. And, he took out he took out Canelo easily.
Okay, good. He was joking.
Easily.
Yeah, he did.
Took out Costa easily. Not the first time, the second time.
Right. Yeah, the first time. Teach, thank God you were joking. He was joking. It was a joke. He gave me a heart attack with that joke.
I've seen him comments before, and he definitely knows.
No, he knows about he maybe he was sipping some of Grandma's syrup. I think
trolling.
For me, so I have my greatest of all time are Roy Jones because of his skill and because I kind of think, okay, if you put this guy in front of anybody, and it's hard to compare eras, but even if you kind of remove some stuff for the era and even it out, nobody looked as good as Roy, nobody accomplished more than Roy, and nobody could have beaten Roy. You know what I mean? Like nobody. Jack Johnson is one of the all-time greats in my opinion because he just toyed with people when he was active. Joe Louis is one of the all-time greats because he also toyed with people and remained champion for almost 13 years, solid.
Jack
Johnson, what? Yeah. He's from Galveston.
Galveston, Texas.
Yeah. So to me, those three, I got Johnson, Roy, and Joe Louis, and Willie Pep is another one.
No Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson's another one for sure.
Ray Robinson.
Ray Robinson is a lot like Roy.
Roy. Who else?
What's that?
He went For how many years? Like maybe 14 years or something like that?
Who?
Ray Robinson.
No, he went to 40-0 and then lost
Oh,
one fight to Jake LaMotta and then went to 129 and won.
one, yeah, yeah.
Then started losing a few. Um, Roy is like a version of Ray. Roy just was a souped up version with more angles, with more showboat. Um, yeah,
More
I mean Ray. Nobody's done in boxing what Ray's done. I mean nobody, and nobody was so dominant and just knocking everybody the f out. You know, and Ray came this close. Those of you who don't know, to winning the light heavyweight title. He was well ahead on points, and he collapsed out of heat exhaustion because I guess the fight was some outdoor hot arena. Ray Robinson was a four-time middleweight champion. Yeah, I think he was also a welterweight, wasn't he? Didn't he start at welter? I think he did. I
You know,
think
it's
he did.
it's interesting to consider too. If these guys didn't weren't punching each other with overstretched leather and horsehair stuffed gloves, and had the technology and training that these fighters today have available to them, what would Ray Robinson have been like now?
I often have this argument, and I'm curious what you think, and I'm curious what the people watching think. We talk about the glove sizes, right? I've done my own little study, independent little study. I don't know if I ever told you this, but analyzing signs of neurological damage in fighters,
Yeah, and we're
right?
talking about mass versus velocity.
Right. And I saw that when you look at videos of guys like Sugar Ray or Jack Dempsey, videos of them, and even Jack Johnson, because there is a video of him as he got older, when the TV and everything advanced. When you look at their video footage, you can see if they have slurred speech or if they, you know, and an overwhelming majority of fighters that fought from like the 1960s uh, and earlier did not have any signs of brain damage. Very few. An overwhelming amount of fighters who fought from the 70s till today, way more of them. And I looked at almost all the greats. I looked at like 100 different fighters. I think it was.
Look at Ray Leonard. He was an absolute warrior. That guy speaks so articulately.
And he
So
was in the 70s, so that's kind of going against my theory because Ray Leonard was later on. And the one thing that I saw different, Jack Johnson fought in 4-ounce gloves. Jack Dempsey fought in 6-ounce gloves. They didn't make the gloves 8 ounces or 10 ounces until the 70s. Muhammad Ali fought, I think, in sixes. So while people think bigger gloves are worse, and here's my theory. It's not even a theory. I've been in there. I've been hit with pro gloves. I've been hit with sparring gloves. Those of you who don't know, pro fighters my weight fight with 10 ounces. Sparring gloves are generally between 16 to 20 ounces. So at 20, that's double the weight. So it's not only is it simple physics, which is if two masses collide, the one with more mass is going to do more damage to the other one.
fast
So
times.
you're getting hit with, and it feels, getting hit with a pro glove feels like kind of like a rock. Getting hit with a sparring glove feels like a cinder block, douche. Whereas the other one's more stinging. Now, the only thing that for sparring that is better about wearing big gloves is it covers more circumference for blocking, right? So that's the only thing good about a bigger glove is I think you block better with it. And so my point is this: smaller gloves, I think, actually are better for you neurologically. What do you think?
I think so, especially if they're smaller and distributed for the materials are distributed more for protection
Oh,
than for energy transfer.
right. I'm sorry,
No,
real quick. Canelo ruled out the Bud Crawford fight 100%. No, did he? So who's the American? Benavidez or Charlo? Well, Charlo just said no, so it's probably Benavidez. He's probably trying to call Benavidez an American, which he is. Uh, sorry, I'm late. Ali Liston Williams not the same after getting shot, losing a kidney. Yeah, there we go. So Cleveland Williams wasn't the same. That's why Ali handled him so easily. That's not the only reason. Ali was a great fighter.
I
Uh,
handling other fighters pretty easily though.
It's not Black Rob. It's not that hard to detect it off footage because you find it's there's only two ways that brain damage affects you that I've seen, and that's kind of common. The first one, the most common, is they say people are punchy, punch drunk, they slur their words. The second one is memory loss, and then sometimes you start getting like physical traits. But now memory loss is hard to tell in interviews, but I looked up 100 legends, so there's enough information on them over the years after they got older, where it would say, oh, he had like Sugar Ray Robinson and Joe Louis developed pretty bad symptoms later in life, in about 60 or 70. Joe Louis just something happened. He deteriorated pretty quickly, and that was probably from boxing. But anyway, sorry, I'm all over the place here. How do your hands feel sparring with small gloves? What do you? It doesn't really.
If you're
Doesn't
sparring, wrap accordingly anyway, right? You're going to wrap your hands for protection.
right. So I mean, do you agree then that bigger gloves are actually worse for you?
I do, yeah.
Yeah, I do too. Um, so I wonder if that played a part in like, and also people fought a lot more back then, so which is weird. They fought way more frequently, yet they had less brain damage. Strange. Like way more. Like Sugar Ray Robinson fought like three
Fight
times a month.
fun, yeah,
What's that? Yeah.
and the
So
fight longer.
and longer. They fought exactly more frequently and longer rounds. I mean, Jack Johnson fought a fight. I think it was 26 rounds. He spoke like a college professor. I footage of him when he's in his 60s. How is that possible?
Because he was knocking people out. He wasn't really taking as much abuse. He was just
True.
a devastating guy.
True. Yeah, true. So, I mean, back to the original topic, I guess we were talking about the greatest fighters of all time. Um, I like to focus specifically on what they've done in the ring. I also, what about belts? Do you, how heavy do belts matter to you? And if so, how much do they matter in terms of you determining who's the
Got
greatest?
soup guys now, and you've got some, and because I have friends who work for certain organizations. I won't call them out, but we'll know who they are. Some of these guys are making belts. They make stupid. They'll make up a belt. You've got a regular champion, and then you've got you know, then you've got you've got the regular belt, and then
Let's just talk about the four big ones. Like, how much does that matter to you?
first of all, there shouldn't be four big ones,
No.
right?
And I'm hoping Turkey Al Sheiks. I heard somebody said that he might start his own league,
Another league,
and that's
right?
what it takes. You need a trillionaire to come in and do that, and all you need is a few fighters to follow him into this league, and more will come.
They will, but the problem is the people that are under contract with other, and that won't be able to come in. Then we won't get fights made, and we'll get jammed up with the people in his league not
Oh,
being able.
I disagree. They could all come in because a promotional contract won't stop you from fighting in this league.
But a promoter will,
If
or a manager,
not if the promoter's compensated heavily, which these guys might do to make the fights.
maybe. Hopefully,
You know what I'm saying? But
hopefully.
um, yeah.
But
So I don't know.
that was the hope when other guys came in, right?
Mhm.
He's there. We had three major belts, and then one guy comes in with another, and we're thinking, okay, this is. It. And remember, we had what we called a super champion for a
I
while.
remember.
Oh, they've done so many variations. It's ridiculous. It's
So
ridiculous. I don't believe in the belt system anymore. You
yeah, I don't
know,
either. It's silly. Jonathan says Crawford is up there.
you run out of belts, so you make a guy a franchise champion. What is that? What is that
Right.
even?
It's goofy. Um, Jonathan, you say Crawford is one of the greatest of all time? Is that what you're saying? Uh, you know, I think Crawford is great, but he hasn't. He's only beaten. I think we talked about this, right? He's beaten. one generational talent in Spence, and well, I
Who's
mean that's
kind of
it.
a trick pony, Spence. He's not a super versatile fighter,
Uh,
especially
so Teach says he thinks belts matters. I mean, belts do matter because usually
for
the
marketing. Yeah,
best fighters hold the belts. Usually.
sure.
But what happens, like, somebody like Tim Zhu and Rolly, they're
Roll,
decent fighters.
roll, belt.
He has a belt, and so does Tim Zhu. And Tim Zhu's a great fighter. So and Rolly's, I actually give Rolly more credit. I don't think he's a bad fighter. I think he's very unorthodox, but he's not elite level.
Trash, but he doesn't. He doesn't deserve a belt.
Right. So
It's
that's why to me belts when people are like, oh, and
about how he got that belt.
right. So I don't look at belts almost at all. I look at who you fought. That's the most important. Who you fought, how you looked fighting them, if you won. That's it. Who you fought, how you looked, meaning your skill, and if you won. To me, that matters. Does getting knocked out to you? Somebody tried to tell me, oh, uh, Mike, who are they talking about? Oh, Lennox Lewis. Lennox Lewis shouldn't be an all-time great heavyweight because he got knocked out twice in his prime.
But
I
you're
agree
fighting
with you.
guys. You know what? You're fighting the top guys. They may have your number with a certain punch, or you may make a mistake. You're human, right? But let's not forget, Lennox Lewis is still the last undisputed unified linear world heavyweight.
Absolutely. Hey, Hood, real quick. You're saying he stopped everybody. He did, and he's great. But for me, I need to see more. I need to see more before we're talking all-time great.
Talking
Generational,
generational, yeah.
Hall of Famer already for sure, and generational great. But all-time great, here's another criteria of mine, big one. You need to have beaten at least two or three all-time or generational greats for you to be considered all-time. At least two or three. At least. For in my opinion. Like you can't because there's a lot of fighters, like you said, Hayden, that are retired 30-0, 40-0, but
Yeah.
you know, so it matters who you fought. And Crawford is not there yet.
Two Hall of Famers, a few
Say that
future.
again.
If
Say that
Crawford
again. I didn't hear you.
if Crawford moves up and beats a couple of Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers. If he moved up and beat Canelo, you gotta put him up there. If he moves up and decides, okay, and catches a fight with, let's say, Boots, and beats the tar out of Boots after Boots is beaten up on some other guy, and sure, why
Right.
not?
Right. Teach says when you look at Oshaki Foster, for example, I don't know much about Oshaki. I don't know if you do, Hayden, but having the belt, he became more active and now signed to Top Rank. It's going to be a matter of people who don't have names because they get to be active. Right. I mean, AMC Lewis definitely top 10 heavyweight. Do you agree that Lewis is top 10? Hayden?
Easily, easily, easily. One of the most devastating punchers of all time, one of the most skilled heavyweights of all time, and one of the most agile big men of all time. One
Right.
of the best skill in a big man.
All right. Hood is saying
But
what did Hood say before this? Tell me one of the all-time great generations that won to face him. It's not his fault. Oh, we're talking about Bud. I'm not saying it's his fault.
fault.
It's not. I'm not saying it's his fault. I'm just saying that
Too
it's
perfect.
like you have to take the test to pass the test and get the A, and he hasn't taken the test. Well, it's not his fault. He just still hasn't taken it, so I can't give him the A.
Never get it. He may never get it, and for that we just have to count him as a
And
Hall.
we know what is his fault, Hood, is he was being real he didn't give a hell if he fought Spence. He was, he put right?
Yeah, Spence had to make
Spence
concessions.
Spence conceded, that's why they fought. So that's slightly his fault. And in my opinion, all of that is Floyd's fault because him and Pacquiao, that was the introduction to the A side, B side bullcrap, and now it's just like bled over to everybody and everybody.
Standard.
Yeah, yeah, everybody. Um, Boots had two chances to face Crawford, and well, Boots wouldn't make Crawford an all-time great because Boots is still not there himself. He's not a generational talent yet,
He hasn't become a great yet. We're still waiting on Boots.
and I think Boots could possibly be one of the best fighters of our generation.
Again, we're kind of in the tier down from Crawford in trying to figure that out.
Right. What's up, Isaiah? What weight class has the greatest talent of all time? Ooh.
Oh, you mean of all time? Of all
Ooh,
time?
I like that question. That's a good question.
That's a tough. That's a tough one. I mean, most people are going to gravitate to the welterweight division because it's smack dab in the middle,
I want
and got people going up
for
from there
middleweight.
who've
I
come
want
up.
you guys watching too to please in the comments leave a comment. What's the best division? Um, well, let's see. Let's go through the top 10 greatest fighters of all time, a few, and see what if any of them had common weight class. Sugar Ray, both Sugar Rays, Roy Jones, uh, Willie Pep. Uh, then you got shot. Yeah, man. I think
I got right
between welter and middle,
in
because
middle.
the problem is a lot of them started at welter then went to middle.
Exactly. Exactly.
So 47 to 60 ish.
Oscar De La Hoya. You look at the amount of talent too that came out. Oscar De La Hoya became a middleweight. Felix Trinidad became a
Hmm.
middle. When you start looking at those guys, they pass through there. They start one and go to the other. To me, I think you're right. I think it's somewhere between welterweight
Yep.
and
That's what Martin said. I agree. Well, what can Crawford do? Um, that fight with Canelo, which somebody just told me that would help.
uh,
Uh,
maybe go take out a Charlo or two.
yeah,
Geez,
I mean, it's tough because he can't really do much more
yeah, you can't.
because like who could Crawford fight right now that would really stack that resume and be like, okay, you're a legend.
Charlo.
Really though? You're just a Texas guy now, man. Listen to you.
I mean, think about it. It's within his reach.
Mm.
Within his reach.
Is Charlo even a generational talent though? Who has he fought? Like I'm talking about Bud. Bud fought better competition than Charlo did.
Both Maul and Mel are going to be Hall of Famers. No,
Uh, Boots would not do it, which is why Bud doesn't want to fight Boots because Boots has
if
yet.
career right now, he's not a Hall of Famer.
No,
Right?
Boots is not right.
He stopped right now for whatever reason. He's not a Hall of Famer.
Who?
Boots.
Yeah, no. They're saying if Crawford beats Boots, does
It's
that?
no, because if
No,
Boots stopped his career right now, he doesn't qualify for Hall of Fame status.
exactly. Or generational talent, which is the
Right.
same thing, I guess. Right.
He'll always be looked at, and we'll have to wonder.
Benavides. What about Benavides? I love Benavides. I
I
think. He,
see Crawford beating Benavidez, if that's what you're saying.
oh,
I
that's
just
what they're saying. No, that would be a suicide mission.
it'd be fun to watch for about 4 rounds.
Yeah. Both of you are right about Charlo. Canelo is too naturally big. Charlo is a bully. I
Yeah,
mean, there's really nobody for Bud to fight. Sean
it's
Porter was a stop. What's that?
so. Maybe if we get okay, how about this? Maybe if we get a good showing this time, or for the next two outings from Thurman, and Crawford goes and beats the daylights out of Thurman.
That'll do it. Because Thurman is a generational talent. That's solidified. So the only thing is if he fights him now and beats him, people will be like, oh, he's old, he's inactive. So you're right. If he beats Zoo and then he fights Thurman, that'll stack it. Um, and then I mean, there's really nobody there. Porter, like his best win is who's Crawford's best win besides Spence? Porter? Probably Porter.
Yeah, I'd say it'd have to be Sean Porter. And you know what? Give credit where it's due. I mean, he did a great
Well,
job.
Amir Khan was a generational talent.
Yeah, but Amir Khan's a chinny guy too at this point,
He
right?
is, but give
So
Amir Khan was a generational talent.
he negated Khan's speed. Um, so I give him that, and but I got to go with Sean Porter. I think you're right with Sean Porter.
I'd say Porter and Khan and Spence. Can you guys watching think of any three, and none of which are Hall of Famers, or excuse me, none of which are all-time greats? But that's still beating those three. You have an argument then, I guess,
You have an
because
argument. He's definitely a Hall of Famer.
he beat three right. He's a Hall of Famer, but can he be an all-time great for beating three generational talents?
But but of all time is what we're waiting on. And I think if Thurman beats Sue, I have no problem.
See,
Fights Thurman.
right. Matisse, my bad. Matisse and Gamboa were not generational talents. They were journeymen. They were they were like that one notch right below champions.
Gatekeeper.
Gatekeeper is the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
Right.
gatekeeper. And I feel bad because I love Cuban fighters in the amateurs, and I love them when they first get here and they have their fresh little records. But people forget that those guys have so much mileage on them because they are, until they get here, they're professional amateurs. So they're
Mm-hmm.
coming 300-400 fights
Mm-hmm.
already, and it's not
Mm-hmm.
just it's sparring and the road work that goes into each one of those tournaments, right? That they're in. They're making weight for 3 days at a time, a week at a time for these tournaments. You know,
Right. 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 Yeah. It's it's
a
it's
lot of
uh
a
it's
lot of
too
work.
bad.
That's why they never have longevity. They come here. We've got a lot of hype around them, and think about it. Out of all the Cuban fighters we can name that come here and may even accomplish the world title status, how long do they last? You know, you look at
Yeah.
her, look at Gamboa. Doesn't matter what generation.
Who who do we think okay, I was just told that Canelo's not fighting Crawford, that he ruled it out. And I don't know if
Right.
you guys watching, is that true? But who do we think who could Canelo be fighting next who's an American?
I mean, do we call Benavidez an American?
Do we? I mean, legally he is an American.
If he was born here, he's a U.S. fighter.
Munguia is out.
I mean, Munguia's out.
So it has to be either Big Charlo, huh?
Morel's out. Munguia's out. So it's going to be Charlo, or to me, Benavidez counts.
Benavidez counts. Oh, let's see. What's do you think Spence really wanted that rematch?
Maybe at
Yeah,
first. Oh, guys,
of
guys,
course.
guys lose and they think, okay,
You got to get that back. He's saying it. Remember, he was saying that in the locker room. He's like, "Oh, we got to get that back." And he was all fucked up, messed up. I guess the
really
cursor.
take nothing from Spence. I said he was a one-trick pony, but it's a good trick. The guy's
He
got
wanted
good,
the rematch.
great
Yeah,
shooter,
yeah.
devastating, but you
He
know,
definitely wanted that rematch. So it's either Benavidez or Charlo. But Charlo just said, I'm not fighting him. I never heard anything like that. So it has to be Benavidez. What?
yeah, I
He
saw
already
that. Charlo said he hasn't spoken to Al Heyman about anything. Uh,
right,
I haven't seen Al Heyman in a minute, so that's not a done deal by any stretch.
right. Crawford went to the top rank route where there were no generational talents. They're outside of Manny. Everyone was there before Crawford. Okay, that's a
Yeah,
good point. And
you know what? That's a great point. He got to the table late, so uh, you know what we can say? Maybe it is his fault to some degree.
I didn't think it was his fault until I learned how he was with the negotiations. How he was very much like he'll take it or leave it. Give me what I want, or peace. What do we have here? Saying ain't doing. I don't think he did. Yeah, I don't know. I don't know, but I think man, I'm actually a little disappointed that he won't be fighting Canelo. Did you guys also hear this? That Canelo said no Crawford. Did you hear that, Hayden?
I did. I heard that earlier today, but I don't know if that's confirmed.
That's a
And
little. I'm a
I,
little disappointed.
I don't know why. I don't know that Canelo would be that. Maybe it doesn't generate the money that it would against another fighter, or maybe it's too much risk, too little reward at whatever size they would do it at. I don't know.
Maybe it is the risk. It's a great fight for Crawford, but bad fight for Canelo to take.
Sure.
Which, but he just fought Charlo, who was pretty
He,
much in the same boat.
look, Benavidez is the most significant fight there is
He
for
he is.
Canelo, period.
Do you know Benavidez has been mandatory for 4 years?
That's the most
Four.
significant fight. That's the fight all the real boxing heads want to see is, you know, and it's going to answer some questions about Benavidez also, right? Is
Mm-hmm.
he should he really be there, or should he be moving up to light heavyweight and challenging somebody like Baturbiev or Bivol or Boats,
Right. Right.
even
Uh,
Spider Richards at this point for me.
exactly. AMC. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. Bud said he'd go to 68, and Canelo made it very clear. I'm not going under 68, so it would be at 68. I mean, it is a huge risk. Y'all know they invented slag. I don't know what he's saying, to duck Crawford aside and the other side of the streets. Invented what? Slag? What's slag? I don't know. Rewrite that there, Hood, because I don't know what you meant. Did you guys see Samson on Pro Box? He said that they're offering Munguia 50-50 split and PBC won't. Who's Samson? Do you know, Hayden?
On the Pro Box show, talking about them.
Oh, and he said that they're offering Munguia 50-50 split to fight Canelo? Is that what he means? Well, Canelo just clearly said he's fighting an American, so
Yeah,
and
they would.
Munguia's Mexican, right?
Munguia is Mexican,
Yeah,
but
exactly.
he would never agree to a 50-50 split with Munguia. I mean, Munguia is not getting 50-50 with him.
Samson's Benavidez' manager. Oh, okay. So Samson Benavidez' manager, Samson. I know his man. Oh no, I don't know his manager. I know his. I talked to somebody else in Benavidez' camp. They said they're offering Munguia. Oh, they want to fight Munguia. So you're
Yeah,
saying Benavidez wants to fight Munguia?
I thought he was saying Canelo.
He would. I think Benavidez would do just what he did to everybody against Munguia. Just mow right through him.
Be a fun fight to watch though for a couple of rounds because Munguia is not gonna. He's not gonna
I'll,
go in all over. He's not
I'll
there
be
just.
honest. I wasn't very impressed by Munguia. I thought he was good, but I wasn't, on the level of other people. Like, oh my god, the power, the this, the that. What about
Yeah,
you?
I think he's a solid fighter. I think he's a solid fighter, and I like him.
But
But
not like
I'm not. Yeah, I'm not. But it's still early.
it
All
is
right, I
early.
thought, man,
What's that?
I got to throw in the towel on this one.
Okay, so yeah, I'll stay. I'll hang around for a little longer,
All right.
and we'll do it tomorrow night.
All right. Thanks, fellas. Thanks for having me, man.
Peacicles. All right. All right, guys, I'm back. Oh, back. I didn't go anywhere. So let's see. Let me engage with you guys. Let's see what we got here. I love Munguia. His defense is terrible, but he's a go-getter. No, he's fun. I just don't think he's, what I'm saying, like up there. If Terrence Crawford jumps 3 weight classes, he will carry too much and look sluggish. I'm not so sure about that because he walks around at like 170. So I don't think he'll look sluggish. I just think his power probably won't translate. Peace to Hayden. I think, yeah, I'm disappointed. Did you guys? Can anybody else confirm that? Confirm what somebody said earlier? Did Canelo in fact rule out a Crawford showdown? Because if he did, I'm a little disappointed. I'd be worried about what Terrence Crawford is like when he comes back down, or if he does. Interesting. That's not a bad one. A bit of Roy Jones type thing. Oh yeah, yeah. Roy told me directly how much that affected him, and I've never done that, so I can't. But a lot of people say that losing that kind of weight, going up, down, it really affects you. Benavidez fights and beats Munguia, he will be on par with Canelo when it comes to Mexican fans, especially if he doesn't fight either guy. Yeah, true, true. I haven't heard no Crawford anywhere from Canelo. Okay, well maybe it wasn't ruled out. I was sure it was Crawford when he said an American, because I didn't think it's going to be Benavidez, not just because Benavidez is half Mexican, but he's been not wanting to fight Benavidez for 4 years. So why would he suddenly want to do it now? Like what? But you know what I'm saying? Like I don't get why he would want to fight Benavidez now. I'd love to see that because I'm cool with Benavidez, and I think he stops Canelo. I'm gonna say it. Won't knock him out because Canelo has a good chin, but the corner or the ref might stop it because he's gonna hamburger meat up his grill piece. Um, but I'd love to see that fight. But I really want to see Crawford. I don't know why. It's something about the. It's exciting. It's real risky. It's a risky fight, and I think as boxing fans, I think we all like risky. We like watching risky. You know, and it's an underdog fight. We love watching underdog fights. Always love watching underdog fights. Bud versus Canelo is a fan friendly, but I do not think Bud can beat Canelo. Neither do I. Canelo has been as much as 175. He's used to fight bigger men with no power. Plus, he can box. Bud is not used to power. Agreed. Agreed. Do you think Canelo? You think the way Canelo? Do you think the way Charlo fought? You. Bleh, you'd think the way Charlo fight sold and the way Jamel performed would make Crawford fight impossible. True. True. You think Crawford might get Canelo? I'm hoping, man. I'm hoping. I am hoping. Of those weight classes, pound for pound, yes, he's biting off more than he could chew. He is. He's biting off way more than he could chew. But we have recency bias in boxing. Remember, I always say this, and I'll keep saying it. We have recency bias. So we believe, because the last thing we saw was this destruction of Spence, who was supposed to beat him, we saw Crawford be like Superman. So now we believe he's literally Superman and he can go in and beat everybody. I even believe it a little bit. I don't think he'll beat Canelo, but I believe he has a chance, which is crazy. I know everybody has a chance, but you know, Canelo gonna break your heart when he flushes the Mexican monster. Oh, word hood, you think he's gonna beat Benavidez? You are wiling out. I don't know where you from, Hood, because wherever you're at, they got some good liquor out there. Yeah, he wrote that one a bunch of times. Yeah, I don't think Canelo beats Benavidez, but it's possible. Canelo's one of the greatest. Canelo is a legend. He's already an all-time great, so it's possible he beats anybody. But I would have to lean 60-40 Benavidez. Weston, what up? I do think Terrence would give him a good fight, but I would way rather see him against Boots and Canelo against Benavidez, even if it's unlikely. Agreed. Agreed. Benavidez by KO in 10. Smart man. I think TKO. If Triple G, well, Triple G's, you know what? We've never seen him get hit by somebody like Benavidez. I guess Kovalev, but Kovalev to me looked like he wasn't even trying in that fight for whatever reason. Let's see what we got here. I'm with that fella. Canelo versus Benavidez 60-40. That fella meaning me? 60-40 Canelo. Oh, Benavidez. Oh, you're saying that you think Benavidez is going to lose. Is that what you mean? 60-40 Canelo. Yeah, so you're going for Canelo beating him. Hey, man, it's possible. Canelo just seasoned, been through it all, and just might stop the monster. Nah, I disagree with that. I don't think he could stop Benavidez. But no, I find it so unlikely that he could stop Benavidez, man. Benavidez is too long, pause, too big, pause again, too much volume in his punches, too much power. His will is strong, and he can box. I'm telling you guys, people do not give Benavidez credit for boxing. He can box, and he has good defensive awareness. He really does. People don't give him that, but he does. I've seen it. I've seen him in sparring with him, and even in some of his fights. The problem is he can successfully do what he does, which is mow people down, so you don't see a lot of the defense. But I've seen it. So I think he's the only thing that Canelo has over him is experience. He might have the chin over him, but we've never really seen Benavidez get hit. So I don't think. Has that Benavidez ever been down? Does anybody know? Because I don't think he has, but I'm not sure. Fans want Boots fight more than Boots. Yeah, I know. Benavidez has good body shots as well. Thank you. Thank you, AMC. He does have good body work. And I mean, Benavidez is almost a complete fighter. The only thing that we have to see is how his chin is. But I would say if Canelo were to lose anyone in that weight class, I'd have to say Benavidez, although 60-40. Yeah. I mean, 60-40 is close. That's almost 50-50. So I get what you're saying. It'd be a great fight. And I mean, why is Canelo being like a drama queen? Why just tell us who you're fighting? Why are you putting out riddles and where in the world is Carmen Sandiego kind of hints and clues? Like, just who? Why don't you just tell us? I don't get it. Is it because he's trying to build some kind of a anticipation, or did he just not know yet? It's not finalized. I don't really get it. It's kind of annoying, actually. Ronald Garville knocked down David. Okay. Was it a flash or was he actually hurt? Do you envision Canelo versus Benavidez to repeat of Canelo Bivol, or Canelo be able to hurt Benavidez to the body and stop him late or go the distance? Or Benavidez stop him? I don't think it'll be kind of like Bivol, but I think Canelo's going to be way more aggressive. Canelo didn't seem like he really tried that hard against Bivol. He would just let Bivol throw combinations and he would just cover up. He wasn't nearly as offensive minded, Canelo, for whatever reason. He did mention some kind of an injury or something, which I believe because he was not nearly as offensive minded. And then when he did go offense, he would hit him in the arm, which, guys, when fighters get hit in the arm, that is simply solely for the purpose of getting their arms tired so they drop their arms and then guys can go up top and hit the head because the defense is lowered. But after like the 7th, 8th round, Bivol's arms were not dropping and Canelo was getting hit and he still kept going for the arms. You know, you stop doing that tactic if you see it's not achieving the goal that you're trying to have it achieve. It was a flash knockdown. Okay. Well, everybody, getting knocked down to me is not the biggest deal in the world. Almost every single fighter has been knocked down or hurt. No, every single fighter has been knocked down or hurt or wobbled. Hurt and wobbled are two different things to me. Hurt is when you're in danger of going down or losing a fight. Wobbled is just when you got hit and you kind of step back. Like when Floyd fought Pacquiao and Manny caught him with that straight right, Floyd wobbled a second and then, Manny jumped on him and Floyd covered up, but he was fine. So I'm smiling. Every fighter's gone through that. So the only time it matters is if it's happening repeatedly to a certain fighter. If they're often going down, often getting hurt, often getting wobbled, that's a problem. Canelo gassed early versus Bivol, and by the 4th, he was done. Hopefully, he learned from this. He can't go full power on all your punches. I don't know if you think he got gassed? Maybe that's why he just stopped throwing? It's possible. I think he had an injury of some kind. Bivol is such a different boxer to Benavidez. Bivol is a technician. Now Benavidez is a great boxer, but he is a boxer puncher through and through, and he thrives off volume. Yeah. What I'm trying to say, though, is I think Benavidez is a lot sharper, astute technician than we give him credit for. Guys, I encourage you, watch sparring. When people say sparring doesn't mean anything, sometimes guys are working really light. It happens. But a lot of times they're not. They're going hard. And my point is, you can learn a lot from sparring. Don't discredit sparring. Go look up Benavidez sparring Kelly Pavlik, for example. Benavidez is like 16 there. And you just go look up some sparring because that gives you other looks into things that you haven't seen of your favorite fighters. You know what I mean? Especially fighters who are real dominant. You're not going to see them in a vulnerable situation. You're not going to see certain things that you get in sparring. It's boxing. You gonna get wobbled. Absolutely. Absolutely. Beterbiev versus Benavidez. Who do I got? That now. What are you trying to do? Trying to give me a headache? I don't know, man. I would have to go for Benavidez initially. but I don't know how Benavidez's power and chin will translate at 75. Look, uh, Beterbiev is 5'11". He's my height. Benavidez is 6'3". So, and Benavidez, you saw his last few fights, he looked really drained. So 175 might be a lot more natural for him than we think. Yeah, no, I completely agree. Benavidez is an amazing boxer. I've seen him spar personally, and he's just superb. I was just saying he's so different to Bivol. No, you seen him box person. It's dope. The hand speed and offense would give Arthur problems. Yeah, but what happens when Arthur puts hands on him? Arthur hurts everybody. That we don't know. We don't know what happens. If they were the same weight, I would say, well, Benavidez really hasn't been hurt. That one flash knockdown somebody just told me about. But other than that, he's never really been hurt. So, but they're not the same weight. So I don't know how he's going to react. So it's really hard to tell. Yo, I train at Brick House in LA, which he come and worked out a couple times. Super fun. You talking about Benavidez? That's dope. That's pretty dope. Yeah, man. I haven't seen him in a while spar, but so I'm about to get out of here, guys. So throw me a couple more questions. We'll be back tomorrow. Same bat time, same bat channel, same bat whatever topic. Yeah, Arthur hurts everyone, and Benavidez loves also to brawl. Exactly. Now, will Benavidez keep brawling if what he doesn't exactly like what he's feeling in return? No, I don't think he will. I think he'd start boxing, moving around. I don't think he would earmuff it up and just start exchanging if he feels the shots. Because as a fighter, we know pretty quickly when we feel a shot if it's a shot that we have to worry about or if it's not. And everybody has different resilience. Some guys will feel a weaker shot and they're like, okay, I don't like the way that feels. Some guys know. Roy Jones just texted me back and said that there was a him and Tarver were supposed to fight an exhibition. It came out. Roy Jones said it's not true. So you heard it here first. That is not true. Most impressive thing about Benavidez to me is his engine. Yeah, absolutely. All right, well, guys, I'm gonna bounce. Appreciate you tuning in. Please, before I go, please hit the like button. Hit it. That brings up the algorithm. It makes more people see my stuff. It helps the channel. I appreciate you guys here. The only support I want is you guys engaging and please hitting that like button because that is super important. And I really appreciate you guys. W live Marco. I don't know what that means, but yeah. So I'll see you guys tomorrow, same time. Thanks again for joining. Peace.